Hi everybody! Today we must discuss inflation in Russia and how official figures the Kremlin quotes don't make sense when compared with easily found facts. The Russian central bank repeatedly claims that inflation in Russia is at only 8% and predicts that next year it will be just 4%. The implication is that there is no need for anyone to worry about the war economy and Putin's obsession with winning a pointless war. The figure of 8% is high for most of the developed world. But considering Russia's dire economic situation, it is wildly underestimated. I'm going to analyze the real facts here in my video today, and you can make your own mind up about the true state of the Russian economy. Over the past year, Russians have suffered interest rate increases 6 times, and the base interest rate today stands at 19%. Any day now, the Russian central bank will raise the rate to over 20%, which will cause ever greater hardship to ordinary Russians who borrow to live. Claiming that the interest rate is to be 20% plus and that inflation is just 8% is extraordinary, as interest rates always follow inflation closely and rarely varies more than 2% either way. Only a fool could possibly believe the Kremlin figures. Inflation is normally calculated using the Consumer Price Index. It's based on a basket of groceries and other items like housing, clothing, and travel expenses such as cars. To check out the facts, I referred to Russia's Rosprod-Soyuz food industry body and to Statista. I found that price increases this year were shocking, and here are some examples. Apples increased 30% in 6 months, carrots went up 62%, beets rose by 92%, potatoes increased by 82%, cabbage by 35%, lamb by 18%, onions by 32%, and bread by 11%. Note how all these items are the most basic foods that the poorest people of Russia, such as pensioners, would need to eat. How sad too for people in remote and deprived areas of Russia who struggle to get by and are then tempted by the huge bonuses, so sign up for the military. It could be a choice between unaffordable debt and starvation or death on the front line. Due to the high interest rates, mortgages are currently at 22% for the interest only. That means paying 1/5 of the capital borrowed every year for interest alone. Well, the cost of borrowing is only going to be higher than ever very soon. After housing, I went on to look at car prices and found that after Lada, the majority of cars sold in Russia are Chinese. 57 different brands are sold in Russia, and in September alone, their price of Chinese car imports rose by 10%. So car prices alone rose in 1 month more than the Kremlin states was the total inflation for the whole year. Would anyone believe those inflation figures? GM Uzbekistan, a manufacturer of cheap cars for Russia, increased their prices by 30%, but they have announced they won't be exporting to Russia anymore. Incidentally, China doesn't like dealing with Russia because of sanctions, and if you want proof of that, see their Voya Passion, a Chinese car most of us will never have heard of but sells for an astounding $98,000 in Moscow. In China, this car sells for just $58,000. What a markup! I conclude from these details that inflation in Russia cannot possibly be 8%, but we all know that due to Putin's foolhardy wish to take Russia back to the miserable old days of the USSR and put the country on an eternal war footing, things can only get a lot worse. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for daily news on the Russian economy. Bye for now.